So I see you've all met.
So what's this all about, Dom?
Yeah, man, why'd you drag us halfway around the world?
Because we got a job.
All right, talking about Fast Five, a movie with everything. It's got action. It's got military scenes in there. It's got romance. It's got comedy.
It's got the slums of Rio.
It's got the slums of Rio. It's got everything but cars.
Yeah.
It's got like 80 characters.
It has a safe.
It's got a safe.
It's got everything from all the previous Fast and the Furious movies. Except the racing part. Not much on the way of cars.
At least they added another word to the title because they were running out of ways to rephrase Fast and Furious. It's like all they had left was Fast, Furious.
That'll be the
Fast Five, drive faster.
What's the next one going to be? They can't put fast.
F&F.
F&F.
F&F, yeah, no doubt, right?
Keep on fasting.
Yeah, man. Every time they do one of these, they keep bringing back more people. It's like they collect people along the series.
Oh yeah, if you have a wishy-washy acting career, this is the franchise to get into.
Well, it's true. Well, you think about it. If you got a wishy-washy acting career, and somebody says, "Okay, here's a job where you're gonna get paid a lot of money, you'll be attached to a money-making franchise, and you get to drive super fast cars, and there's gonna be hot chicks all over it."
Yeah, and you'll keep getting to come back, presumably.
Yeah.
Until you don't. Yeah. And even then, you might be able
kill you
to.
Off, you might get to come back.
Because they're kind of out of order, really.
The main focus on this movie too seemed to be like the whole family vibe.
That's a huge throwback to the first movie where that was the thing that Vin Diesel kept preaching to everybody. Come on, we gotta have this barbecue on Sunday, and you didn't say grace, so you get the last piece of chicken. And throughout the movie, there's callbacks to all the other movies, just not even just the characters, just even certain themes.
Now they're talking about making about 8 more of these.
Exactly.
I mean, by the time they get to like that final movie, it's going to just be a town full of cars.
It's going to be old ass Vin Diesel racing around on one of those scooters that you see at HEB.
Yeah, right.
Those rascals. It's going to be rascal races.
He's going to come up to some teenagers and that little rascal. And I was going to do like, what the fuck is he talking about?
People keep coming back to these things, whether Vin Diesel's in them or not at this point. It's the branding of the title and the concept. Let's face it, there's Fast and the Furious 27. It'll be whatever douchebag can't get a job doing anything else but with rippling muscles, as the lead guy.
Speaking of which, they bring The Rock in on this one, which I figured, like, at first I was like, okay, they brought The Rock in just so they could have him and Vin Diesel on screen at the same time, so they could go like, see, it's not the same guys, two different guys.
I kept getting worried every time they got close to each other. It's like, no, it's like matter and antimatter. If they touch, the universe will explode.
Well, there's a point in the movie where their chests are about to touch because they're like, mean mugging. They're having a mean mug off. They're staring each other down, and I'm just like, don't get too close because y'all gonna create a vortex, and everybody's gonna get sucked in.
And the thing is, The Rock is so fucking huge. I mean, his steroids were taking steroids in this fucking movie. I mean, he was sweating so hard that there was like steroid juice coming out of his muscles. I mean, it was like, fuck, dude.
Vin Diesel was actually getting bigger when you touched him by absorbing it.
Like every moment he walked, he was hulking out in every scene. His pants were like ripping from the scene.
I know he was like Tetsuo and Akira, I
mean, every scene with Vin Diesel, he looked like, y'all hurry up and shoot this scene because I'm about to pass the fuck out. Hurry up.
Well, I love when you get to a scene where the two of them are fighting, like you could see, okay, one's on one side, one on the other, and when they fight, it's like two bald biracial Hulks just going at it, and you just like get lost in like, which is which?
Which one is which?
Like if you had the gun and had to shoot the wrong one, you wouldn't know which one to shoot.
Yeah.
No.
Shoot him.
The evil one. No, it's him. Now I'm thinking they brought The Rock in just to let Vin Diesel know, like, look, dude, if you abandon us, we got another
guy waiting in the wing.
All he's got to do is shave.
I'm sorry. How much do you want to do to get the contract for the next 8 movies? No, that's unacceptable.
Have you been looking at Vin Diesel's track record? He ain't going nowhere. Believe me.
He got a little big for his britches for a while and thought, I don't need the Fast and the Furious.
Shit, I got pitch black hanging out. I don't.
This Babylon AD, this is going to make me. How many people in that theater right now? Oh, for real?
Babylon is right. Get your ass in this car and drive. Get the fuck up. I don't know what you doing, man. I don't care about your franchises. Nah, man. If you want to have a career, get yourself in a Fast and Furious movie. Because as long as they keep making them, they're going to keep bringing you back. They can kill you, and Vin Diesel will drive up in a car. I created a time machine with this. I was able to bring him back from the dead.
Why not? And why not? What difference does it make? I mean, they have literally, in this film, broken every last law of physics that I am aware of, except time travel.
Broken them. They've split them in half and raped every law.
I know.
You think they're done?
Michael Bay is scratching his head right now watching this movie.
Why aren't they mad at this guy? I'm mad at me.
Michael Bay sitting up there talking about, well, my car's turning to robots. Nobody care. That's the problem. They don't drive.
That's the crossing line between cool and kind of gay.
And they got about as much personality as Paul Walker. Who I honestly thought, man, is this guy just getting worse and worse with each one of these movies coming out?
You know, it's funny because I watched the fourth one again last night, and it's like, you know what? He's gotten a lot better in the fourth one. But this one, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
No, apparently he hit his head on the dashboard or something.
I mean, this was written by Chris Morgan, and I don't know who wrote the other ones, but Chris Morgan needs to either go back to school or just stop writing movies.
I think Gary Scott Thompson is the writer who had the original. He might have a hand in some of the others. But, I mean, if you haven't been keeping up too well with the series, and really you don't have to except for a chart, a family tree or whatever to tell you who all these characters are. But, as I said, we keep bringing these characters back. So in this one, Vin Diesel returns as Dominic Toretto, and he's brought everybody back from the previous movies. Now, if you like saying, well, Lucas Black came back, that's because they didn't want his ass. He can't act. No, that's not true. In the timeline, he doesn't fit in.
He doesn't come till after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does. But apparently, in this whole series of movies, Tokyo Drift is the last one. We are still dealing with sort of prequels here, and he's going to need as many people as he can get because he's decided to take on, every movie they get bigger. He decided to take on the biggest, baddest gangster in Rio de Janeiro.
The guy who has played every Spanish-speaking main bad guy.
Who is that guy?
History.
I don't know.
He's in the Desperado. He's in them all. If it's a Spanish-speaking bad guy, I think he has a contract with Hollywood or something. No, it's me. No,
Joaquin de Almeida. Yeah, he was the bad guy in Desperado. Since then, whenever somebody says we need a bad guy with a Spanish accent, then
that's the guy.
Or an accent period.
Even though they
with the bad-looking tan,
with the spray on tan.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not doing anything. Yeah, spraying on my tan. Yeah,
they do keep reminding you it's Rio though, because it's like, hey, you know that big Jesus statue? Rio. Again, still in Rio.
Rio is popular this month.
I know. Yeah, they ain't driving a fast car. They got talking birds there. Wow, Rio's a place to be.
But yeah, it's fun how this movie picks up directly where the last one left off.
Yeah, and so Vin Diesel gets this team of characters together in Rio. These are gangsters that we're dealing with. I mean, they might not kill anybody. They might have a heart of gold, but they are wanted people. They're on the other side of the law, the bad end of the law. So they send the biggest, baddest motherfucking federal agent that they can send after him, and that's The Rock, who's looking so angry in this movie because he can't touch his dick. He cannot put his arms down.
He is so crazy. Even when he walks, he has to waddle. Maybe that's why he was just sweating so hard throughout the entire movie.
He looked like a living, breathing He-Man action figure.
He did.
Really, where you just keep his arms just
it's like, come on, man.
When you're bigger than the truck you're driving, there's a problem with that.
Somebody just put wheels on him and drive him down the street. But
that's the next movie. Right there.
Good news. Bad news.
Yeah.
You make me a sandwich. I can't reach the knife.
The Rock on a unicycle. That's what I want to see in the next movie.
Vin Diesel riding it?
Just going through walls, going through.
I mean, really, we talk about obese people being the ones who haven't seen that dick in years. You can be so muscle bound that your chest is in the way that you ain't seen that shit in a long time.
Exactly. You can't even do sit-ups anymore because there's a point where your abs are so big they just no longer allow
You can't sit up, period. Somebody
sit-ups,
they gotta get people to lift you up.
Get moved around in one of those Hannibal push carts.
Like The Rock is a guy who needs to be doing sit-ups right now.
Yeah, man. Need to get any bigger. I was glad to see him in this. I really was. He was ridiculous, which was well balanced to the rest of the film.
Yeah. So you probably heard us saying, well, who did they bring back? Well, of course, Vin Diesel can't be back without his boyfriend, Paul Walker, who's, Brian O'Connor.
You got to have both of them now.
Oh, yeah, you got to have both. And then Paul Walker came in this while his boyfriend, Tyrese.
Yeah, wow. I can't believe they didn't have a slow motion running across the field scene.
Did you notice how every scene with Tyrese, he had to be talking about women or bringing a woman with him? It's like, man, this is some serious overcompensating.
He's still mad at you, Corey. Yeah. For you pointing out how gay that movie was.
Did I say that to you?
Yeah, you called him out on it, and then he was like, what? You know, and you're all backsliding.
I know. I heard that.
I ain't number real man.
Corey did mention that, and Tyrese thought he was talking about something completely different. He was like, and Corey didn't bother to correct him. He was like,
man.
all right, he ain't mad at me, so let's just
keep moving. Yeah.
But in this movie, I was like, I know I missed out of this series. I missed about 2 of these films, but I was like, was there a plot where him and Tyrese, Paul Walker and Tyrese were dating in one of these?
Well, if you watch
I was like, is this like when you have like, I know in some of these movies the ex-girlfriend shows up to help out and be part of the team. I was like, is this the same situation?
If you watch Too Fast, Too Furious, you will have no doubt that it is the greatest gay action film of all time.
That's what I hear. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Even more so.
I'll take your word by that, Cyrus.
Yeah.
I've told people to like describe. I said, man, I haven't seen Fast and Furious 2. Please describe that to me. They said, gay. That's all you need to know.
Lots of slow motion, loving shots of them taking their shirts off and admiring each other's physiques.
Yeah, you know how like you might be watching something and somebody goes like, oh, there's a gay subtext to this, and you go like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I can kind of see it if I stretch.
There
ain't no stretching here. Like the first time somebody say, you go like, oh, get out of here. There's wait a minute.
This ain't no subtext. This is the first floor.
Well, the rest of the movie we have, along with other kids we're talking about, we have Jordana Brewster who plays Mia. She's
Toretto's sister.
Toretto's sister.
Paul Walker's ex.
Yeah,
who's here mainly to give them a reason to be sentimental.
Yeah, we got Sung Kang in here as Han. Han is from Tokyo Drift. And then you got those 2 guys that talk Spanish the whole movie. Nobody knows their names. Leo Santos is like, you don't need to know those actors' names because nobody knows who they are anyway.
I think those guys make cameos and all of a sudden they're in the plot.
Those 2 racial stereotype robots from Transformers.
They're like Casey Affleck and what's his name from Ocean's 11. They're like the Spanish equivalent of them.
Yeah.
They even bring back Vince, Matt Schultz, the guy who was in the very first one. I was getting punked out. The one where he comes back on.
That's right.
Yeah, come on, man. And we got punked out. We feel bad for you.
Yeah, but now in this one, they're all together. They hate the crime boss of Rio, and I guess somewhere in between there, Toretto watched Ocean's 11 a lot.
Yeah.
He just said like, you know what, guys? I brought you here because you race cars, but instead, let's pull an Ocean's 11 job. Who's with me?
We don't need cars where we're going.
If you're coming in expecting to see what you've known this series for, regardless of whether you like some of the movies, like none of them are like a few of them, they all are consistent where they all have like really cool car chasing scenes or car racing scenes. And this one has that twice at the beginning and at the end.
But the last one is like, admittedly, the big one. I mean, that's 15 minutes of car chase that is really, well, like I said, they might as well just have traveled through time if you're going to break physics laws anymore. But you don't care. And it's them going, here's our wad, we're going to blow it, and it's pretty fun to watch them blow it.
You know what? I shouldn't have cared, but I did care because they didn't give me the races I needed up to that point.
To build it up.
So when they finally got to that one, it's something that's just so ridiculous. And like, man, I want to go with this, but I can't. It's not grounded enough for me to really enjoy it.
Well, see, Leon, our thing has always been, we've always walked out of these movies, and we've always said, man, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but damn, those cars are cool.
Yeah.
We've always talked about how this made us want to race, made us want to drive cars, made us want to get rid of our shitty cars and get better ones.
Yeah.
And you know, in this one, we have to warn you people because it is enjoyable if you know what to expect. I don't know if it's as enjoyable as any of the other movies, but it's a heist film. I mean, it's Mission Impossible, right down to it. In fact, I think it's a better Mission Impossible than any of the Mission Impossible movies that we've had, except for the last one.
Well, that's not.
The last one was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because this movie did what the Mission Impossible movies didn't do. They brought back a team of people and made it about the team.
All right, so our target's name is Hernan Reyes, and he runs the drug scene down here. And he's never been busted because he doesn't leave a paper trail.
No paper trail means no banks. And no banks means cash houses.
That's right. 10 of them to be exact. Spread throughout the city.
And we're gonna hit them all.
That sounds crazy. Bring us to a whole nother country so we can rob the dude who runs it? I thought this was business. Sounds personal to me. Is that what this is? I got love for y'all, but personal ain't good business. I can't do this, homie.
So what we're talking about is $100 million.
You say what?
And what's so frustrating about this is like, look, I'm going in one cars. All right, because if they don't have car chases in this or cool scenes of action, which they have some here, but it still doesn't take away from, oh wow, this movie really is stupid. You know, there's nothing there to distract me. They even have a scene in here where it's like, oh yeah, we forgot we gotta have cars, and they meet all these people an underground racing sect over in South America, in Rio, and they're like, all right, you know what? We need a car, so we got to race these other guys to get their cars.
And the whole audience is going, finally!
Yes. And then
let's
they're like,
see this shit.
And then that guy says, okay, you're on. My car for your car. Let's race. Cut! I got his car! What?
But you know,
my mouth was wide open up to drive a car through. I was like,
the other problem I had with this movie is it seemed really long.
Oh, it is.
Only because
it's over 2 hours long.
Yeah, no, only because it is because
it could have lost 40 minutes
easily because it just the setup time it took too fucking long. And it really didn't get to where you wanted to go as far as like the fucking racing scenes because you're right. In the middle of this whole movie, there's almost none of it going on. And when they get to it, you're thinking, okay, they didn't show that because they fucking spent all their budget in that first action sequence probably.
You know what? You could be right.
If they what would have saved this if they had hired some punch-up writers? Quite simply, because there's a lot of scenes where it's just them trying to be clever and funny with each other, and it's not clever or funny watching these guys just talk. I mean, none of them are really good enough actors to have all that much charisma with each other, especially in this wildly exaggerated, unbelievable characters that they're playing. So it's not really fun to watch them go through the motions or to play with the drama. Oh, guess who's having a baby? Who gives a shit?
I disagree with the characters because the beginning of the movie is terrible to me. I was like, this is bad. They open up with 2 action scenes that involve cars. One of them, I'm still the jury's out on that because they do an escape plan. It connects to the end of the last movie where they want to get Toretto out of.
I forgot.
He's on his way to jail on a bus. They decide to do like a bust on him, to get him out. And what's their plan? To fucking flip the bus
and hope he survives.
And hope he's alive. I'm like, usually when these cars flip, there's no escape, not only from this bus, but from death.
40 times at high speed, and they're like, just so you know, miraculously, no one was killed.
And they put that on the news. It's like, to let you, in case you were wondering, like they say, miraculously, no one was
what
killed
is
in
this,
this
It does seem to be like part of the physics of this movie is that vehicles can flip over and without your main characters getting hurt. Not alone not killed, but not even hurt. And Vin Diesel has a force field.
The other part of this is that they're stealing cars from a train. And that's when you say, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm just being a little too harsh here with my details and nitpicking because that action scene is pretty cool. And regardless of whether you believe the physics or not, that's what you want to see this movie for. It's a good setup. And you're like, wow, okay, now this is what I'm looking for here. But then that is when we enter a very long middle with nothing happening. And what makes it so terrible at the beginning is that there's a bunch of posturing. Everybody's yelling at each other. Everybody's having to show how much of a man they are. Everybody's up in front of everybody's face, and nobody has the dialogue to pull it off. I'm not going to say they don't have the acting chops. I mean, that's debatable, but nobody has the dialogue to pull it off. And then they bring in, and I forgot to mention, they have Chris Bridges. You know Chris Bridges, right?
You mean Ludacris?
Yes! Don't be ridiculous. Of course I'm talking about Ludacris, Yeah, they bring Ludacris in, and then they bring Tyrese, and they bring in the rest of the team. But it's Tyrese and Ludacris, for me, that start to all right, you know what? This movie's silly. We're going to bring some humor to it. They start cracking on each other. They bring the humanity to the film, and the point where they almost looking at the camera and saying, none of this is good, so we're just going to try and make you laugh as much as possible.
They're about the only funny thing I thought there was.
I mean, they were the saving grace of the second movie.
Yeah, and the second half
is that they kept cracking jokes. So I was like, you know what? Those two guys were funny.
The danger that's in it. I mean, if you're gonna make a heist movie and they're going up against the biggest badass in Rio de Janeiro,
let's make it feel dangerous.
Let's feel like they're actually in danger. It's like these guys can be in any kind of trap, locked up in any kind of way, and they would just break free with ease, and kill everybody in the room and walk away.
I started to think this was actually a sequel to Inception because it was just like Vin Diesel being handcuffs all tied up, but it just occurs to him he'd rather not be tied up anymore, and he's not.
I mean, honestly, there was just a shot. I thought it was a fuck up actually, because there was just a shot where he's in chains. The next minute he's not.
Yeah,
he's like fighting already.
Well, that villain needs to hire a Boy Scout to come in and tie a knot for him. He doesn't know how to do it.
One of the things that got me was like their headquarters, that they're in this garage that clearly had a door with no lock, and you got the entire underworld of Rio looking for them, as well as The Rock and his special forces, and these guys are just hanging out in this place. They don't seem to be paranoid they're gonna get found out.
Yeah,
they're gonna shop it at the market and surprise that people see them. It's just like you guys, you've lost a sense of urgency.
it seemed like the bad guy has eyes and ears everywhere. Rio was owned by this guy, and you think, okay, is this some fucking kid going to see these cars going in this garage?
How are you not going to notice like the most expensive sports cars in the world just regularly?
And not just sports cars, police cars.
I like how they go. And they're like, we got to be careful. We can't be seen by too many people. We got to stay undercover. Not only do they steal police cars, but they get to a light and say, you know what? Let's race. Let's not only race, but let's rev the engines as loud as we can. Not only rev the engines, but let's cut on the lights and the siren and just make our way down the street.
That was Tyrese. Tyrese being an asshole. Like, dude, what are you doing? I'm hungry.
You look at that scene, they somehow found a police station and a bunch of streets that had absolutely nobody on them at that time.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, everything we're talking about, it's been in the other films.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I would say that some of these other films have been dumber than this. But one of the things that they had was distraction. There's not enough distraction here. If you're going to make a heist movie, you know that shit needs to be tight.
It needs to keep pumping. It needs to have a pulse that never stops.
Yeah, you can't come in there and just have a heist excuse as a reason to make another sequel.
It has to keep you from being able to sit there and think about everything logically.
This movie,
it gives you too much time to think about the fact that like everything you guys are doing is way too much for what you're trying to achieve.
You're either going to like what they do at the end or you're not, because you got 15 minutes of pretty much Vin Diesel and Paul Walker playing baseball with a big ass vault with the city of Rio de Janeiro. It's pretty much the day the vault ate Rio de Janeiro because it destroys every building in the street. And again, miraculously, they don't kill anybody because it's a huge vault. That thing is swinging. Vin Diesel is using it as a weapon to take out the crooked cops that are following him in the city itself. And by the end of it,
it's
nothing happened.
It's not even worth bringing up the fact that the steel cable couldn't have supported the weight of that vault.
Or that two cars, no matter how big their engines were, they were still cars and they could not have dragged that thing at high speed.
When they drove off, let's say we forget everything that we're talking about.
Sure. And I can.
But by the end of it, that vault should have had all kind of people stuck to it that they hit. All kind of animals.
How awesome would that have been? That thing was just dripping with gore.
No,
arms, people still barely alive when they help.
It should have looked like a used tampon.
You want to steal $100 million, but you cause $8 billion in damage.
I only have to let you go because there's nobody left to prosecute.
Exactly.
Yeah, Justin Lin. It's amazing though that he's coming to doing these kind of big budget films. His first film that I saw was Better Luck Tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
It was a drama, small drama. It was an Asian.
Oh, so you loved that movie.
American Asian. No, I didn't love it.
No, you loved it.
No,
you loved it.
Yes, sir.
That's what you interviewed him.
I interviewed him.
I see. He was kissing his ass.
Yeah, I probably said that I loved it.
That's where I got confused.
I said, fuck him when he left the room. Fuck you in your movie. From what he's come from, he's been able to handle these action films very well. Leon said it himself. He was like, I didn't see Tokyo Drift. That was the first movie that he was on, right?
The first one he did.
And then he did the last one.
And it was the weakest, and it just seemed like he wanted to make up, he wanted to apologize for it. Like, look, that wasn't my fault. Let me do another one. And with the fourth one, it's like, wow, he got it.
Yeah,
he understood what those movies were all about.
Yeah, and with this one, he still, listen, that last scene, whether you buy it or not, technically, it's amazing. I was looking at this and saying, all right, how much of this is CG and how much of this is real? Because it blends together so well.
Yeah, most of it looked practical to me. I couldn't see the seams, that's for sure.
He's an amazing action director, and that's what I'd have to give this movie credit for. When I got action, I was entertained by it. It's just I wish that there was more. This movie is one of the biggest cock teasers I've ever seen in cinema, and technically from that standpoint, I guess I got to give it a low matinee. If I saw this with the right crowd, which is like the people we saw with tonight, who didn't give a fuck about story.
The girl next to me, I think, was having epileptic seizures.
Yeah, there was a girl fucking. There was like a cheerleader in the audience.
She was
for this movie.
standing up and sitting down and reaching at the screen.
Really?
No. Moaning.
Anytime Tyrese or The Rock came on screen,
or Vin Diesel.
Every time those two, The Rock and Vin Diesel, fucking grabbed each other, all you heard was this chick go like this.
Low matinee is I'm willing to give it that. I'm teetering on rental though. But low matinee.
You know what? I'm right there with you. And we saw it with the right kind of crowd.
Yeah.
And still, it wasn't enough to push it over for me. And as much as I praised Justin Lin for what he did with the last movie, I was shocked to see that he was the director on this one because I kept thinking man, they should have brought Justin Lin back because he understands these movies. And I was like, oh damn, that is him.
Yeah.
Because one thing you're supposed to get in a Fast and Furious movie we haven't talked about, you're supposed to get that scene where the race is going, you're right at the edge of your seat, and then they hit the button for the nitrous oxide,
and you feel it through your entire body.
Well, they do an animated cutaway of the nitrous going through the fuel line, hitting that explosion, and go, and you feel it. Yeah, you get in your heart.
You get the fuel's point of view.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. And that's like the biggest rush.
Like you needed that, but
I go see one of these movies I can sit on the fourth row so I can get that rush, the full effect. It never happened here. Every one of the action scenes I loved. Even like that last one that I'm not that crazy about because it was just too much. I can still appreciate it. Everything y'all saying. It's just, as we've pointed out over and over, there's too much them sitting around talking and nobody writing good stuff for them to say.
Yeah.
And man, I'm so right there at a low matinee, high rental, but I think I ultimately fall at a high rental.
Okay.
Honestly, what is the big thing that's missing? Because everything else could be wrong that's wrong with this film if they had just given you that car experience that is part of it. I'm not a gearhead at all.
No, me either.
But when you see those movies and you're sitting in the theater and you're right up front and the whole theater is vibrating because of this amazing engine and cars, and you're like, damn, I hope I don't get arrested on my way home tonight. I missed that. That's just not present here at all. It doesn't even really feel like a Fast and the Furious movie. It's an okay action film as it is, and what action there is filmed well enough that you really should see it in the theater, because I suspect it's not going to carry over as being even half as entertaining on video. So I'm going to give it a low matinee, which is the lowest I can give it, and still say yes, you should still go to the theater.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a matinee because you're right. The action scenes were fun to watch, and it really did. It's like, okay, cool. This is what I want out of this. This is to me like the beginning of the stupid fun summer films. And it's what I wanted, but what I didn't want was all the mugging and all the half-assed jokes and all the guys just looking at each other, reminding them that they were in the other movies. Yeah. I mean, and I'm just like, I really didn't come here for that. Let's fucking get in the cars and do something. And it really didn't do that. But when they did, it was fun as hell. Even the last sequence really made up for a lot of the film, just because I was like, I'm glad I didn't fucking just walk out of here. But they did it in spades with the action sequence, and as fucking retarded as it was. But but the thing is, they went full retard. So and that's where it counts, and that's where it counts. So I'm giving it a matinee. I don't know. I'm actually surprised they didn't have a scene where they had two smart cars going at it, because it seemed like in this film you see every fucking car out of the blue. You even see cars that don't even show up. Till like halfway through the movie, where you're thinking, hey, what happened to the cars that they stole to do this whole job? And then all of a sudden at the very end, I guess the Ford company were like, hey, we got two cars if you need them.
If you look closely, they hit one car in clown spot.
I know.
I think their warehouse was actually a TARDIS or something. It just went on, and no one could find them.
In the next movie, I want to see Vin Diesel and The Rock having a race in smart cars. That's all I want to see. As big as those motherfuckers are, it's going to be the most retarded thing ever. And I cannot wait to see it.
Playing Mario Kart.
That'd be so badass.
Leon, at least the good thing about this movie is that you didn't run into any buildings when you left the theater this time. Because you get so excited when you leave. This time you just kind of tapped into a glass pane a little bit.
Yeah, I totally won that last race at Fast and Furious 4. I took your ass, man. You didn't even make it out of the parking lot.
Well,
yeah, that's because he was wrapped around a light pole.
I can't see how anyone's threatened by Leon and his gremlin that he's still driving.
Hey, man, you put a mean engine in that gremlin.
You just wait till the 7th movie.
So are they really? You telling me that they have like?
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I've been seeing on the net today, that they're already planning out the next several.
You don't even need to know that, because the film lets you know, which stick around to the end.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be something. You're gonna see something about as cool as the end of Batman Begins.
Yeah, you think they broke into physics in the last action sequence? Wait till you see the Easter
You know what?
egg.
I'm just gonna spoil it.
No, don't spoil it. No,
I'm gonna do it.
Silence.
That ain't right.
We've already given away every plot point.
Chain him down.
Don't hurt him, Hammer.
I got to do it. I'm gonna tell you what it is. The next movie's gonna be a prequel. You got Fast 5. This was gonna be Fast and Furious 6-year-olds. At the end of the credits, stick around. You get to see them like on their big wheels rip off an ice cream truck. Beat the ice cream truck man down and do a heist.
Power wheel.
Chances are, sooner or later, we're gonna end up behind bars or buried in a ditch somewhere. But not today.